Now I'm going to close with this, all right? As we think about these things, I want you to think about, there's this show that me and my wife used to watch, okay? We haven't watched it in a while just because our lives are busy, but when we first got married, we just sat and watched this show all the time. Have you guys ever heard of this cooking show called Chopped? Okay? It's kind of a fun show. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's pretty good. Okay, so essentially this show, they would have judges, and they would have 4 competitive chefs. And these chefs would come along, and they would have to cook something based on given ingredients. And they were top-notch chefs. So good at everything they cooked, okay? Like, shut down my mac and cheese meals, like chefs, okay? And so they would have this competition, and once they're done in this time frame cooking this meal, they would give it to the judges. And I remember the classic point every time in the show. And it was almost every single time, every episode. The judge would walk up to them, and they would taste it, and they would look at the person with this disdain and go, "Did you taste this meal? Where's the salt?" And the chef would go, "Chef, I was so worried about the time and the ingredients that I had to use that I forgot to taste it. And so I was just busy making this meal, and I was cooking, and I was doing all these things, and I forgot the salt." And they go like that. And the judge would go, "This is 101. This is basic cooking. You don't even have to go to school to learn this. You add salt to your meal, and you always taste it before you serve it." And the chefs would put their heads down, and they'd be like, "What do I do? I lost because of salt. Like the key ingredient to every meal." And that's what Jesus is asking us today. He's looking at us, and he's observing all of our man's laws. And he says, "Where's the salt? Where am I in all of this? You've missed me. All of these traditions, all of these laws, all of your vain imaginations and the things that you've taken so far. You're so eloquent, Pharisees. You do everything so strategically. You come in with your high hats and your golden robes, and you just look honorable, and the men bow down to you. But where's the salt? Where am I in your heart?" Right? We've completely fabricated things so far to the point we have missed Jesus. When we think about the Sabbath, we shut down and we go, "No, man has built this law, and so I don't need to rest. Jesus is my rest," right? And we almost say it nonchalant to the point where we don't even set time aside for him, because we want to rebel so far against the law that we miss the original design of the law. Now, I'm not saying you have to come to church. You are not a Christian if you do not on Sunday. There will be other people that come and deny me, and they'll say, "You need to practice the real Sabbath," right? And so it creates this controversy. No, I'm saying, where's Jesus in your life? Okay? Have you created an argument in your heart so far that it's the argument that you feel good about? Well, I'm right with God because I truly believe it's this way. Or are you right with God because Jesus is the center of your life and you actually find rest in him? I get it. People have to work on Sundays. There's no judgment here. But do you actually set time aside to search him? And when you make it on Sunday, is it just to appease? "Yes, God, I made it to church on Sunday. I made it. Scratch it off. I'll try my hardest next week again." Or are you actually searching him diligently every day and finding rest in him? Because guess what? He is the Lord over the Sabbath. So Jesus is our Sabbath, guys. That's it. Our rest is him. Amen? So our question for all of us is, do we delight in the Sabbath? Do we delight in the rest that he gives us? Do we take joy in setting time aside to find him and set him on our heart And then he will return the favor and feed us. He will give us those things. So don't go so far to the point where you hear the law that you would just reject its design. And don't go so liberal in that direction that you just miss everything God says. But also, don't get so close to the law that you think the mirror, this law, is the one that's making you holy. Jesus is our holiness. Amen.